Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome in. Welcome in. How's everybody doing? How we feeling today, man? How we feeling coming off this very embarrassing, disappointing, frustrating L that we took yesterday from the Vikings. You know, we done had time to sleep on it. It's been essentially almost 24 hours since the game. You know, so that done gave us a lot of time to get to reflect on it, you know, get the frustration out of us and you know, move forward with the week and the team and the whatever impact we have on it as fans, get prepared to face the Cardinals, you know. So that's next on the schedule. And hopefully we come away with that game with a victory and we get back to 500. Again, I want to thank you everybody for coming in, and I want to welcome you in. Of course, I'm going to be your host, and my name is Ty. And we are going to do our weekly grades as we always do. We're going to do our grades whether we win or whether we lose. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to keep it solid. We're going to keep it consistent. Y'all know the deal. We don't do grades only when we win. We also do grades when we lose as well. You know, so we're going to keep it consistent as far as that go. We'll also do this is the weekly grade show. I also like to call this the post game show. You know, we did the post game show last night, but this is the post game show. You know, so we'll talk a little further about little aspects of the game. We won't dig as deep into it as we did last night because that's the purpose of last night's show. But you know, we'll talk about everything that's been going on these last 24 hours or so. So we'll definitely dig into that as well. And y'all know how I go. Whatever else y'all want to talk about, you know, we can talk about that and discuss that as well. Now let's get the commercials out the way. Everybody that's watching us on YouTube, welcome. I appreciate you. Do me a huge favor. Make sure you hit the like button on YouTube. That's the best way to show me any kind of love, any type of gratitude, any type of appreciation. So definitely as you come in, make sure to hit that like button on YouTube for me. Shout out to the Facebook crew. You know, we have people watching on Facebook also. I want to welcome y'all as well. And the same goes for the Facebook crew. You know, if you want to show me any kind of love and type of gratitude or anything, even if you want to say a F you to me, just hit the like button. You know, and I definitely do appreciate that as well. Now that the commercials out of the way, let's shout out to the chat. Let's shout out to the chat. The Dixon Way checking in, and make sure y'all show love to the Dixon Way. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to send them a sub over there. Subscribe to their channel. They do some great content. in-game commentary always over there with Larry and Shonda. So shout out to the Dixon Way. Dixon Way says Art Smith F minus. He's I already gave out his grade. So shout out to you, Larry. Also, we got our guy John Bruce checking in, and also y'all make sure to show John some love as well. Follow him, subscribe to him on YouTube. He also drops great Georgia sports content over there as well. So show my dog some love. Also, John gave his grade out. Also, I grew up my boy Larry from the Dixon Way. Another L for him. Marina checking in as always. Shout out to you, Marina. I always appreciate you coming through and showing love. Marina says fire Kyle Pitts. Oh, excuse me, free Kyle Pitts. Definitely. Let's ring the bell for that. Free Kyle Pitts. You know, that motto, we still there. Free Kyle Pitts. Please free Kyle Pitts. We got 21 Savage in the building as always. What's up with you, brother? Says, yo, Ty, I'm completely effing disgusted. I don't even know what the hell to go from here at this point. Fire Arthur Smith as well. Let's ring the bell for that also. Fire Arthur Smith as well. Definitely. C-Dub in the building checking in as usual. I always appreciate the love that you always show C-Dub. So thank you for coming through. Appreciate you, bro. G checking in as usual. Appreciate you also as well. G says, what's up, Toddy? Hashtag ASGTG. Hashtag free Kyle Pitts. Let's ring the bell on those two. Let's ring the bell on that also as well. DJ Gaming checking in. What's up with you, DJ? How you feeling today, bro? Says, oh, this game, man. I know. I already know. I definitely know. Eric, what's up, bro? Appreciate you coming through. Says, what's up, Ty? Very know that this loss, Arthur Smith is handicapped in the brain. Insane in the membrane. Insane in the brain. Y'all remember that Cypress Hill? Y'all remember that old Cypress Hill back in the day, man? Y'all remember that Cypress Hill. But I get what you're saying, Eric. G says, I slept on and I'm still pissed off. G said he's still pissed. He said he slept on and ain't nothing changed. He's still pissed off. And I definitely feel you on that, G. Definitely feel you. Facebook user checking in says, what's up, my dog? Tyler, what's up? What's happening? Facebook user, how you feeling? How's it going? Happy Monday to you also, by the way. Got to get used to this new time change, man. I don't necessarily like when it be dark, you know, like 5:30 in the afternoon. I like the other time. I like the other season too. I'm not a cold weather person. I love spring and I love summer. I love the warm weather months. I love the hot weather, you know. I love when it get dark at 8:15, 8:30 at night. You know, that's my kind of season. C-Dub also said pissed and angry, but at least he shaved the mustache. Shout out to Art Smith, shaved the mustache. Art Smith finally shaved that mustache, so I guess that means changes are upon us, beginning with him shaving the stash. J Dot in the building. What's up, J Dot? How you been, bro? Says, what's up? Tired to run up the lights for more. Please, y'all, please hit that like button. You know, that definitely helps me out a great deal. So that I appreciate that, J Dub, for showing love. Thank you very much. 21 says, just waiting for the notification to pop up on my phone that his ass is fired. Oh man, you might have to wait a little bit. Now, if we lose to the Cardinals, you'll probably get that notification because I think we got a bye week after the Cardinals. So if we happen to lose to the Arizona Cardinals, I think he'll get out of here, man. I think he will get out of here. Coach Davis in the building. Appreciate y'all always coming through, Coach. Appreciate you, man. So what's good, Todd? Everyone smash the like button. Please smash that like button for me, man. Please, as you come in, even if you don't intend to stay very long, just smash that like button for me, man. It definitely helps out the channel. Keon, what's up, bro? Checking in. Says, on God, Art Smith better not try this. Okay. Y'all see, now first y'all trying to beat up my quarterback, Desmond Ridder. Now y'all trying to beat up my coach, man. Y'all can't be beating up the people that employ up out of Falcons to go out and help the team perform, man. Y'all can't be beating up the players and the coach. What's up with you, Keon, bro? How's everything going with you today? Facebook users, what's up, Tyler? Looking forward to a win against the Cards. Me too. Falcons will have you wondering. I thought yesterday was a shoe-in win. I expected us to win that game by at least 10 points, and we end up losing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to get back to 500 without a doubt. So hopefully they don't go out there and disappoint us for the second consecutive week. The Cardinals game. That would be terrible. Coach says everyone gets an F except our great offensive player, Koo. Yeah, man, they're gonna make Koo pull a hamstring. All that kicking he had to do, man. Like, score a touchdown, man. Stop making Koo do all the the heavy lifting on this team. Score a touchdown. My brother Winston in the building. Shout out to you, Winston. I always appreciate you coming through. Says, what's good? What's going on, Bucket Jack? Smash the like button. Yes, indeed. Hit that like button. Please hit that like button. Monica checking in. What's been going on with you, Miss Monica? How's it going? Says, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you as well. Hope your Monday is going splendid. Facebook says, do you think Arthur Smith starting Heinicke again next week? A desperation call because he believes his job is at stake. That's a fantastic question, and we're actually going to dig deep into that. So stay tuned. Don't go nowhere, Facebook user. We're going to actually dig very deep into that. That's an excellent question. Facebook, you also said, what's up, Tidy? Rise up. We still got a chance. Yeah, we still in there. I think we're only a game back in the NFC South. I mean, so we're still in there. The thing about it, man, we roll off and we win 4 out of the next 5, 5 out of the next 6, 6 out of the next 8. All is forgiven. We won't even be worried about this rough patch we went through. We just got to get on the roll. We just got to get on a winning streak and reestablish ourselves, and hopefully that'll start against the Cardinals this next game. Jada said, whether we want to hear this or not, the Falcons are below average as an organization. Win with a culture change. That's a good perspective. And we all hope that would change with the new regime, Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith. So hopefully it's in the beginning stages of the change, because we all tired of seeing the same old every year. 21 says Arthur gets a get the F out of here. Banging on Coach Smith. Our brother Travis checking in. What's up, Travis? What's up, homie? Yesterday was definitely a heartbreaker. Arthur Blank needs to get a grip on this franchise. Yeah. I know owners will rarely do any kind of interviews or speak publicly for a lot of different reasons. They don't want to seem like they're meddling, and they want to respect the guys that they hired to run the franchise. But I really am interested to know what Arthur Blank is thinking at this point in time. I'd be very interested to hear that. C-Dub says F for Arthur and free Kyle Pitts. Please, free Kyle Pitts. Y'all don't get me started. Don't get me started today. Don't do it to me today. Don't get me started on that. Ray Ellison in here. What's up with you, Ray? Says, what's up, Tyler? What's happening with you, bro? Conscious K Brown says, I'm still pissed off too. Yeah, I think we all still a little pissed off. I don't think we all slept it off. I think we all a little pissed off. But what's up with your conscience? Facebook says, cannot believe, hold on. We cannot beat the Saints at home. Arthur Smith, if we can't beat the Saints at home, Arthur Smith needs to be fired immediately after the game. We got to sweep them bombs, man. We got to sweep them bombs. We got to sweep them bombs. We got to sweep New Orleans this year, man. It would be dope because we still can do this. It would be dope if we swept the entire NFC South. The Baghead Aints, the little kittens up there in Carolina, and Tampa, Tampa Bay. Tampa no Bay. How about that? DJ said the team might need a new voice. I'm trying to be nice. Arthur Smith, go ahead and join your dad and FedEx. We need to trade Kyle Pitts, and I honestly think Jonah was a better fit for us, and Kyle is not. Let's ring the bell on that. Free Kyle Pitts. Please free Kyle Pitts. Yeah, man. Jonah, he fits his team better. He's been playing better. Jonah Smith even looks the part as a better tight end for us. And DJ, that's some of the reason, man, that I just still constantly question kicking off the rebuild with a tight end at 5. But I won't pander into that today. I did enough of that last night. My dog Hashim fanning in the big. What's up with you, Sheen? How you doing, bro? Says for the people that are blaming the loss in the defense, get a grip. The D gave us a safety and plus 2 turnovers and we did hardly anything with it. I totally agree with you on that, man. Defense gave us opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to put points on the board, to have this game wrapped up in the third quarter, and we just failed to convert on turnovers. We failed to convert on what our defense gave us. It's only so long that the defense gonna be able to carry the team and carry the game. So you make a great point there, bro. False Star checking in. What's up, Witch? False Star, how you been doing, bro? Hope everything good. Lil E checking in. What's up, Lil E? How you been, man? The only thing positive from Sunday game was Heinicke targeted Kyle Pitts a little more than previous game. That's very true. 21 says, excuse me, Arthur Smith better watch out. Man, don't do that, man. Y'all here sending threats out to my coach, man. Y'all don't do that. Don't do that to my coach, man. That's still my coach, man. That's still my coach. Don't do that. DJ said, I'm getting tired of saying I'm looking forward to getting back 500. We should be. Yeah, we should. You're right. Hey, you get no argument from me on that one. Facebook user, yeah, we get cute and gave up 14 points because the play calling by this gentleman was just mediocre. Yeah. Didn't Tip have a song say no mediocre? And we was all mediocre. We've been mediocre lately, Kenneth, on YouTube, Arthur Smith, 18 wins, 24 losses. Matt Ryan, 7-10. Marcus Mariota, 5-8. Ridder, 6-6. Heinicke, 0-1. This makes perfect sense. Who do you play? This makes perfect sense. The play calling is the problem, and who is calling the plays? Okay, so banging on Arthur Smith. We're going to talk about Arthur Smith also in detail as well. Dre Anthony checking in says the fan base got embarrassed again in front of America. Yes, sadly so. Sadly so. The only good thing is this wasn't a national broadcast. It was more of a regional broadcast, but your point is definitely taken. Rusty checking in. What's up, Rusty? Appreciate you coming through. Says, I didn't watch the whole game. That's probably a good thing, Rusty. I'm not going to even lie to you, dog. That probably helped out your mental health that you did not watch this entire game. Because I had a prior engagement, so here's my grade for the organization as a whole. P for poverty franchise. Oh, banging on the entire franchise today. All dog Kelly, Mr. International Stinson checking in the building. What's up with you, bro? So that loss felt like one of them old Dan Quinn. It did. It definitely felt like a Dan Quinn loss. That just sucked a lot of energy out of the fans. Well, I know it did for me. And just reading everybody's commentary after the game, people pissed off. As we see in the comments, people still pissed off. Rio, what's up, bro? Bijan's morale seems to be off. Something isn't right here lately. Yeah, we're going to talk about that too. Because you are absolutely right. Hold that thought. Seth Thomas in the building. What's up with your big dog? What's happening with yourself? Appreciate you coming through. 21 says the blank fire Dan Quinn rather he took us to the Super Bowl, but I don't see how he can put up with this subpar BS much longer. I agree with you on that. Definitely agree with you on that. Rusty says no desire to make the playoffs. If the only reason we do is because the division is trash, don't want to lose to the Cowboys by 40 on national TV. I'll pass. I don't know, man. We get on the roll. We happen to get on the roll. Maybe Taylor Heinicke gets on the roll if he continues to be the starter. We get hot at the right time, man. I would love to go in the playoffs and just smash Dallas. Dallas isn't like a division rival, but I don't like the Cowboys. I don't. It is most of their fans, the more arrogant, pompous ass fans that they got. They swear every year they year. I don't like the Cowboys. I don't. I ain't got no love for the Dallas Cowboys. Not one bit. Hashim says for the people that are blaming the loss on the defense. Okay, I read that one already. Keon, what's up? Says I'm good. Tired of pulling the Bijan on my job today. Wasn't feeling. Hey, shout out to you for pulling the Bijan, man. Hey. Some days at the job, you gotta just pull a Bijan. Hey, bro, my head hurt. I ain't gonna make it today. I'm not gonna make it today. My head is hurt. My dog Archangel is in the building. What's up with you, Art? Did you go to the game? You know that you the good luck charm. You must have show up. What's happening with you? False Star said, I think Big Low said it right. Coach Smith might be a bridge coach. He just might be. He keep on what he doing. He ain't gonna be here next year. I can assure you that. John Kim says, what up? Tired of Falcons been on every highlight because of Dobbs. That's not a good thing. Definitely not a good thing at all. Arkansas says, y'all make sure y'all liking for this great content. Please do, everybody that's coming in on Facebook and also YouTube. Do me a favor, man. Hit that like button for me. That's the best way to show me any kind of love or any kind of gratitude. Thank you in advance. Dre says, change the slogan from rise up to man up. I can definitely agree with that. Also, Latasha checking in. What's up? Latasha says, coaching. I agree with you on that. Did you go to the game? Because I know you bet all the games. She was actually on TV, I think, the last game, but she didn't look very pleased. So if y'all seen the game last week, you saw her on TV. Also, appreciate you coming through. Also, Latasha, Eric Parker, we need an edge rusher after looking at Dobbs' escape. The pressure was there, but Dobbs continued to escape. That's very, very true. Very true. And also, y'all keep the comments coming. We're gonna keep reading the comments. Gonna bring in. We got a guest today. We're gonna continue this conversation, y'all. So y'all continue the comments. Also, and let's do this, man. Let's do this. Let's cut the music real quick. I'm gonna bring in my dog in here to holler at us, to chop it up with us today. So give me just a second as I bring him in here. Also, I got my boy entering the stage, Mr. C Mo. How you feeling today, player?
What's going on, Tidy? I appreciate you having me on here today, man.
Yes, sir, man. Welcome in. I appreciate you coming through, man. How you feeling today after I call it an embarrassing loss. How you feeling?
Oh man, I ain't gonna lie, I'm disappointed, man. I mean, I knew it was a process, but I thought this was a game that we definitely could have won. Um, yeah, I didn't get to watch the whole game from start to finish. I had a funeral to attend yesterday, but what I saw starting the game off, when we put they quarterback, they backup on ice, I thought we would fare well against Dobbs. And then when I started hearing things on the way to the funeral, it was like, okay, we had a scoop and score and different things, but then game started unraveling. I'm hearing how Dobbs is eluding pressure and all of that. You know, I gotta say I'm not surprised though. I'm not surprised at that. I think we have a really good, solid defense. We made some very big improvements, but as a couple of your commenters said, we definitely need a guy on the edge. We need a guy who's going to make you pay. We need us a T.J. Watt or a Micah Parsons. We need a guy with a motor that can just continuously like flush you toward that other side. And I think that'll take care of a whole lot for us.
Yeah, I could definitely agree on that. And once again, I know I said this to you by text, but my condolences for the
No,
loss of your friend, man.
appreciate
Sorry
it,
to
bro.
hear that, bro.
Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir. So let's get to some business real quick, man. Earlier today it was announced, Simo, that Taylor Heinicke will continue to be the starter against the Cardinals. Give us your initial thoughts, when you seen that news or when you read that news or when it came down your timeline.
I mean, I was happy to hear that we were going to stick with Heineke for the moment. I don't. I'm not completely out on the Ritter. I just don't think that he's ready at this point. He probably won't be our guy of the future if we're being 100% honest, unless he can just turn on something else for us. But I think right now Heineke probably does give us the best opportunity to win. It's not like I feel as though Heineke being there under center is going to be our guy moving forward either, though. I expect him to have some turnovers, but I also expect him to be able to be Dobbs to an extent. You know, he's won some games. He's been in the league for a little bit. I think that he's a decent bridge guy for the moment. So until he isn't, so we'll see what happens. But I think it was a really bad situation for a coach that if I was taking the Falcons job, coming in with no cap and then having to take these guys as your options at quarterback is not a position that I would ideally want to even take over at all. So it's a tough break. And as a fan, I kind of came into the season thinking that, hey, I thought we were in trouble if we were going to have to turn to Heinicke after they named Ridder the starter. So which we got to tighten up right now. So that's about where we are. So, but yeah, that's why they play the games. We'll see what happens after that.
You're right. That's exactly why we play the games. That you just mentioned Ritter also, and I want to bridge into some Desmond Ridder talk as well. Now, you just mentioned during your last statement there that you were happy about Heinicke continuing to start, but you haven't given up on Ritter. I want to ask you this, Simo. With them wanting to come into this season and develop Ritter into the franchise quarterback, but they pull him and then they bench him, and he hasn't started these last two games, and I'm going to include the Arizona game when I see these last two games. From a franchise perspective, looking at this from a franchise perspective, Simo, not necessarily a fan, does that mean that they have given up on Ritter as a franchise?
I don't think 100%. I think that I think there's a realization that. Well, let me back it up a little bit. I feel like when we drafted Ritter, they were hoping that we could duplicate something similar to what happened with Seattle with Russell Wilson, getting a steal late. I believe Mel Kiper. I don't know how many other people had Ritter ranked as high, but I think Mel Kiper had him ranked as a second rounder, and that's not that I think his analysis is end all tell all, but there are some people who saw he could ball. There was questions about his accuracy at times, but he was supposed to be really good at making decisions and not turning the ball over and throwing that interception. And I think going back to last year, I I thought it was like, hey, he's going to be able to do that. He might be a little bit more have some issues with accuracy. So I don't think that they're completely out on him. I think that they're going to leave the window open, but I think that they're in a space where they're like, we got to bring somebody in to push him or compete or keep our options open. I don't think he's shown enough promise to say that he's just that guy. And there's a lot of people who asked why we didn't start off with Heinicke. A lot of people who didn't like Ridder. Who was like, why didn't we start with Heinicke? And I think with Coach Smith, he's probably looking at practice and like, hey man, both of these guys probably are not it for us. But I think that Ridder has those intangibles, and they want they want him to be the guy because he has those intangibles. Even when you listen to how he took the benching, he was very professional about it. He kind of acknowledged that he hadn't been playing his best. So I think they're open to it, but I think they're definitely looking. They're in the market for certain.
All right. And also, Kelly has a statement that I'm going to read out to you, Simo, and I want to get your response on it. He says the idea that we went into the year with an unproven, unchallenged third round pick as our quarterback one is a fireable offense within itself. Your thoughts?
Uh, I think it's too easy. That's low hanging fruit to say that to that extent because what were our options? We actually pursued not Desmond, Deshaun Watson. Prior to that, we did last year. We pursued Deshaun Watson, took a gamble on him, knowing that it would probably piss off Matt Ryan, and actually got him out a lot quicker than I thought. I thought we stayed with Matt Ryan for too long, as he was starting to fall off. I don't think he should have got that last extension. So I was very happy to see that happened. Unfortunately, we didn't get him, and let's say fortunately we didn't get him because he has not been great in Cleveland. But going into this year, like what were our options? I've seen people say we should have tried harder for Lamar. I don't know what trying harder looks like. If you know what you're doing, you know that, and if you know what you're watching, you know that you're not going to get Lamar. You're just basically setting the market for him as a QB. It's hard to play quarterback in this league, even as a mediocre guy. We look at the guys that are, say, option 5, let's say 7. Your 7th quarterback to maybe your 15th rated quarterback. All those guys that fall below 7 or 8, they're probably rookies. A lot of those guys that they have some promise. The guys that are around 9 or 10 or 11, without making a list all the way out, who's trading you their quarterback when you need one and they don't have an extra guy on the back end? I mean, we can't just draft them easily. If you don't get a guy, you have to just kind of go with what you get. I mean, look at our rivals. They signed Baker Mayfield and Derek Carr. And for all it's worth, I'd rather try on Ridder and see if we could develop him than go with a Baker Mayfield or a Derek Carr. So unless he's giving me a name of somebody that we could have just definitively gotten, I don't think that there was any other option that we really had for the most part. It would have been nice to maybe get a Jacoby Brissett or something else like that. But again, we're talking about journeyman backup guys that don't really do it for us. Just in my opinion.
Right. Let me ask you this, because you did bring up well, I don't know if you did or didn't bring up Carolina, but I know you mentioned Roberts. And when you say who else we could have gotten, Carolina, they pretty much dropped their nuts and they said, look, man, we about to go up and get Bryce Young. Do you think the Falcons should have followed suit and maybe went up and got a CJ Stroud? And I say CJ Stroud for one, I was big on CJ Stroud, and for two, I recall watching that playoff game, and it was played in Arthur Blank's / the Falcons / our stadium in Atlanta, of course. And I just remember the camera kept panning on Arthur Blank, and he looked mesmerized watching CJ Stroud. I don't know if you watched the game or you happened to see that part on TV, but they kept showing Blank, and he was just sitting there like mesmerized by CJ Stroud. So do you think a better thing to do was maybe try to go and get a quarterback last year in the draft?
Well, I don't know the intricacies of whether they actually did try to do that or not. I can't imagine in my right mind that they would have traded that pick away. Speaking of the Texans, I mean, their options were to either they knew that they wanted CJ Stroud, in my opinion. They weren't going for Bryce Young. I mean, they didn't tank that last game and won that that game, they knew that they were going to go for the best defensive player and who they thought was the best quarterback. And it's not like the Panthers were going to trade that pick to us as rivals. Look at what they, look at how they had to pull off trying to get that pick. So I also don't think that we had the capital to do that. I don't think people realize how hard it is to just move up a couple of slots. And when we were at pick number 8, right?
Yeah,
7 or 8.
8.
Remember when we moved up for Julio?
Yeah.
And I don't think we even moved all the way into the top. What did we move to get Julio? It wasn't top 5. 6. Look at how much we gave up for Julio. We gave up a lot of picks. I just think getting to 3 or 2, I wouldn't have wanted to see us do that.
All right. Well, let me play the role of antagonist on that statement, because if I recall, that year we moved up to get Julio. We was picking in the 20th, I think. I don't remember the number. Maybe 23, 24. Could have even been 26 because we were pretty good in 2010. It might have been 27 actually.
I feel like we had an off year. Like we had an off year, and our record dropped a little bit lower, and we had maybe just made the playoff, missed the playoffs. I might be wrong about it. You might be right. I feel like it might have been closer in the teens, maybe low teens, but you might be right. It's probably low 20s or something.
Yeah, I want to say we were 13-3 in 2010. The chat will tell us. Chat, what were we in 2010? What were our record? I want to say we were 13-3.
Right.
Because I remember us. If I'm correct, isn't that the year that Aaron Rodgers came in and bust our ass in the dome?
Damn, it's been a few of those, man.
Yeah. Rest to say we were 13-3, so we probably would draft like 26, 27, 28.
Okay, got you. Okay, but yeah, so you were saying we traded up for him that year, and
yeah, my point of saying that is like it's going to cost a lot of more draft equity when you're moving from the back end of the 20s compared to moving 6 places from 8 to 2. So maybe it was more feasible to go from 8 to 2, just for debate's sake.
Right. Again, I can't imagine that they didn't do some due diligence and ask about this. I mean, these guys talk behind the scenes to each other. They have conversations and everything that we're not always all the way privy to. And you have inside, and they have the insider guys who get messages to whoever else and correspond with each other. Even to the point that we know that if you give your word in that draft, hey, if you trade me this pick, I'm not going to draft this guy, and you do it, teams, they won't trade with you anymore. It's that type of like these owners are more like homies playing a poker game when it comes to that, as opposed to complete rivals the way that we are as fans. So I just don't see where they would have done that trade and not tried to gouge, knowing that that's what you're going for. So I think the timing has to be there to go up and get one of those guys. Otherwise, you're hoping that somebody falls in your lap. Like Lamar fell to the Ravens. Patrick Mahomes, he fell to those guys, and he still was a first round pick, but those were steals where they got them, and arguably, and they took a gamble on those guys comparatively, compared to what the league showed on not drafting them and passing on those guys, specifically. So yeah, I think it's a tricky thing. I think we can always say, yeah, they probably could have done this more, and it might be true. Maybe we just sat on our hands, but I feel like Terry Fontenot, when he was with our rivals, I feel like they were doing a really good job in free agency, better than we were doing as a team. And I feel like he's learned a lot. I feel like he's off top has been a pretty solid GM in terms of making sure he goes and gets guys, and some of the picks he's made. We're seeing Evan Katie hopefully start to turn the corner a little bit with that. So I'm trusting his judgment a little bit right now, leaning more on that side that it probably was not as feasible to be able to make it happen. Just in that.
All right, definitely understandable. I want to switch gears a little bit as far as the topic goes. One of the reasons, Simo, that I asked you to come on today, because what we're about to talk about now, me and you have a different perspective, and I wanted the people that watch to hear every perspective. I don't just want it to seem like I'm forcing my perspective down the throats of people that watch the channel. So that's a big reason I wanted you to come on and present your perspective, because I've been talking about it on social media. You know, me and you, we talk about it all the time, like on Facebook. Then after the game last night, I came on and talked about it more as well. Now, my my issue was with us taking Bijan Robinson at number 8. I thought it was a terrible idea. And you tell me all the time, like Toddy, you tripping. It's not a terrible idea. Like you just tripping. You frustrated because we losing right now, so you
Right.
tripping. You know, so
Right.
everybody has heard my perspective, but I want you to tell the people that are watching Seymour, excuse me, Seymour, why was taking Bijan Robinson at 8 actually a great thing for the Falcons going through their rebuild? You got the mic.
I think that we're in a league. For one, we're in a league where you need multiple running backs. Even if you're going to have a bell cow guy, you still need a guy that can come in and alleviate some of that and spell your guys. And if you're going to run the ball as often as we do, as often as we plan on running it, especially with not having a just solid franchise quarterback guy, you need you a stud back there. Just in my opinion. So I think that it takes some acclimation to get rookies used to this league. We even saw as we tried to lean on Algier last year, as he stepped in for our injured running backs. For one, he was down the depth chart. Tyler Algier was like our number 3 running back last year, and then he had to prove himself. And again, I think he's a very important piece. I think he's a very good role player to have on your team, but he does not have the explosiveness and is not near the running back that a Bijan Robinson is. I do think that in a vacuum, going high with a running back, you better make sure that they're a special generational talent. And I think that Bijan has that. I think right now he's arguably, if not the best running back in the league, 2 or 3 in terms of his skill sets, what he has there. I'm a little bit concerned that maybe he doesn't get the ball as much now because maybe he does fumble. Maybe they're seeing that in practice. But I think that if what you do is run the ball and you don't have a QB, yeah, go and get a guy like that, because he puts us in positions and allows us to make certain play calls that we can't just do with anybody else except for Cordero Patterson. And I feel like he's kind of Arthur Smith is looking at him as a more uh, durable, younger Cordero Patterson long term. I think he likes what he can do with Cordero Patterson. And I think that Bijan is a guy that you can turn around and hand the ball off to more frequently. If you also look at how they did in Tennessee, they've been pretty good since they had Derrick Henry. They drafted him and they had DeMarco Murray. And those, they were phasing out one guy, bringing the other guy in. And I think for the first 2 years that they had Derrick Henry, they still had DeMarco Murray, and they were kind of splitting carries. And then eventually, Derrick Henry took over. And I think that's a reason that as he approaches 30, that he's been able to have the longevity that he's had, is because they worked him in tandem a little bit at the beginning of his career, and allowed him to grow a little bit more. So that's just my thought and opinion. I think that Bijan was also arguably maybe the best player in the draft. If we're looking at a guy that does things like Barry Sanders and can still turn around and truck you, and he's at 220, he has the size of a power back. Every time he runs the ball, he's leaning forward. You want that out of your running back. You want a guy that's falling forward every time. So I just think he's so special. I think it's really hard to just pass up on Bijan. I think he's been a very key component why we've been able to win some of the games that we have won. We've had some problems on offense, and running back is one of the few positions that you could come in right away and play if you are solid at pass protection. So just without going on too long about that, I could throw out a few more reasons, but just off top, that's what I would say. I don't think it's a terrible pick if we're, looking down the line. We actually have us a QB that can turn around and dump that off to that guy. He makes you account for so many more things when he's out there on the field. So.
Okay, we're gonna see if the people in the chat will keep you in the hot seat on this topic. The first rebuttal that you got is from Kelly. He says that doesn't negate the fact stud running backs are found late in the draft every year. Ex Miami.
I mean, what am I asking Miami? We saw Devon Achan get hurt in the preseason after taking one hit, set out on IR for a few weeks, came back, and they weren't even giving him 10 carries a game maybe, and he got hurt again on IR as well. He's not durable. So as good as he is, he's not Bijan Robinson. I mean, you can find people late sometimes, and I wouldn't even say all the time. I mean, a lot of these studs that we're finding, these are guys that are second rounders. Sometimes you're getting third rounders. Sometimes you get guys that are completely undrafted, but that's not the common. Um, that's not the norm. I won't say. Sometimes you do get those guys that just want it and they're different. People slip through the cracks. You have to be. Let's not get away from the fact that you have to be incredibly talented to make it to this level. To begin with, we call people sorry and trash, but it's you gotta be incredibly talented to make it to this level as well too. And sometimes these guys are a lot closer. Sometimes they're at smaller schools. Um, you got to find those gems. I mean, you look at a Tyreek Hill. Only reason he didn't go higher is because he had issues in college at first, and he had to go JUCO. So, I mean, he's right. Yeah, you can find some guys, but who was going to pass on Bijan? If we didn't get him, he was going to be the next couple picks. I mean, we can all agree he's better than Jahmyr Gibbs, and look at where the Lions got him, and they signed David Montgomery, who I think is better than Tyler Algier, to be honest. So, yeah, I think when you got a special guy like that, you do that. Again, just me.
That's good. That's good. Let's see. You got a few more hot seat questions. This is Larry from the Dixon Way. He says you can have multiple running backs when you don't have two-star running backs on your roster. The Falcons legit have two-star young talented running backs. Algier is Michael Turner, and Bijan is a LT type running back. Both are good.
Tyler Algier is not Michael Turner because they called him Michael the Burner Turner for a reason. This was like 230-pound bowling ball that ran like a 4.340, 4.440 maybe.
I think
Like
4.4. I think. I
yeah,
believe he was 4.4 at his peak.
Tyler Algier is a 4.640 guy. He does not have the type. And listen, Tyler Algier is not a star running back. He's a 1,000-yard running back, not a 1,500-yard running back. You can make 1,000 yards averaging. If you average what 50 or 60 yards a game, you can get 1,000 yards in the season if you play all 17.
Yeah, about 55, 58, something like that.
You know what I mean? So also think that having a quarterback like Mariota, like we had last year, for all his messed up stuff, it's hard to plan for a guy that moves like that. If he doesn't fumble the ball as much as he does, he's still our bridge quarterback this year. That puts a toll on your defense, and I think that Tyler Allgeier's numbers were helped by that last year. In the way of getting 1,000 yards. Again, I'm not shitting on Tyler Algier. I think he's a really good player to have, but I'm looking at Tyler Algier, and the eye test tells me if I have to go against that guy versus Bijan Robinson, give me Tyler Algier to have to. I'll thump with him all day. I don't want to have to chase around a guy that you still have to thump on. They're not. I don't think we had two-star running backs in that regard. So.
All right, gotcha. All right, your next rebuttal or your next statement, we want to hear your feedback on it. It comes from Coach Davis. He says, I do not believe Bijan Robinson has broke out a run more than 15 yards, so hell no, it wasn't a good pick.
Are you sure about that? I don't think that's true, but I know we've seen multiple big runs from him as well, too, off the top of our head. And he's doing that when you have a quarterback that you're not worried about hurting you. So, I think if you're handing Bijan the ball 20 or 30 times a game or giving him 20 or 30 touches a game, you're going to see that. I mean, we saw Tyler Algier have some big runs on some dump off passes. Don't tell me that Bijan can't do that. We saw what he did on the goal line on the first game of the year. He's done that a couple times too. So he's making 5 or 6 guys miss in the backfield on a screen with no blocking almost. Like, so I just because if you haven't seen it doesn't mean that that's not what he can do. But I don't think I all the way agree with that. I feel like I've seen him at least have a 15-yard run.
All right. Well, you got one for Savage Falcon. He says, and you know this has been some of my counter argument also, but he says there is no way I don't take Jalen Carter. So Simo, tell us, being from Georgia, being a Georgia fan, you just spoke, Simo, about
Why
somebody falling in your lap.
why wouldn't it take a Bijan? Why would it take his Carter instead?
And he fell in your lap. So you gotta now explain that to the people why you think Bijan was a better pick than a two-time national champion.
Man, because I think if we're talking about Jalen Carter as an edge rusher, yeah, I'd have probably taken him. Like with the stuff we had going on yesterday, we got beat by Josh Dobbs running around and elusively slithering out of time. And he did this on people like Bud Dupree and Lorenzo Carter. Like we don't have guys that are not don't have bend in their hips or whatever. So I don't see Jalen Carter chasing him around and making that as a difference. And even though we lost Grady, we didn't look terrible without Grady still. So I don't think that Jalen Carter helps us win games more this year than if we don't have Bijan. Because the alternative is what? We roll out Ridder or Heinicke, who we're not all the way sure about, with Tyler Algier and Kyle Pitts, who I think still is not 100%. I still think he's still coming. It's taking him a ways in, and the team not want to be 100 about that. And just Drake London and no other pass catchers. Now Drake London's hurt. So we got two of our top studs. Not like Drake London's just out in a groin injury. That's probably three more weeks that we're probably going to be missing him. I'm sure. We'll see if they put him on IR. I just don't see us having an easier time making the playoffs if you can't score points. That was a problem for us last year. At least we've been able to score points better this year. So that's my counter to that. I'm stacking the box if you give me Tyler Algier over there. I can't even do this. I can't run the same offense with Tyler Algier and as I can with Bijan Robinson or Cordero Patterson. Just in my own opinion. So.
All right, well, Simo, they got you in the hot seat. These comments are coming quick and fast.
I love it. I love it. He's a good question, man. I feel him.
So I'm gonna give you two at one time, and you can answer these how you want to. Okay.
Okay.
All right, this comes from Trey Airline. He says, and I'm sure he's speaking about Bijan Robinson. He says he hasn't shown up week in and week out. The second one comes from Larry. This was a rebuttal to your rebuttal. He says, so this guy like us drafting a luxury pick in Bijan instead of an absolute need in Jalen Carter. Just because Bijan was rated the best talent on offense in the draft doesn't mean he fits this team. You got the mic.
So I will say the first thing with not showing up week in and week out, I don't know what he means by that. We had the one game where he was sick or hurt. I feel like every game that he's played, he's been the most effective running back we've had. His stats hasn't been there every week. One thing that I am frustrated with Arthur Smith about is I do want to see him give Bijan more touches and more frequently. I do want to see our other studs get the ball more, but I mean we're competing for playoff run still now. So I know he's not a stats guy. I think it's a rhythm of the offense type of deal and using these guys and playing situational ball. So I'm not too mad about that. The other question was the other comment was what again? This is like, a luxury. I honestly disagree. I feel like we needed a stud. We needed a running back who was going to, because Cordero's shown you that he can't keep carrying a load. He's in his 30s now. And I also want to say Arthur Smith is the only coach in the league who had the wherewithal to unlock Cordero Patterson. How many places we've seen him in so far? He's in Minnesota for a good little while. They thought he was a wide receiver, which he never should have been a wide receiver. The Bears couldn't figure out what to do with him through two different regimes, and we seem to have unlocked him and made him relevant. But I think that was a role that we needed fulfilled. We needed two running backs, and Cordero has shown you he's gotten hurt. All of our running backs, both of those guys have been hurt, had things, either Cordero and Bijan at a different point. And I don't think Tyler is just going to be able to take the load all himself, even if you do believe in him that way. But we just signed David Onyemata. We had Grady Jarrett and David Onyemata. How many defensive tackles do you think you need at one time? To me, that's a luxury. He's a rotational piece at that point in time. Now, if we didn't go sign David Onyemata and go give him 10 million plus a year, but that's a lot of money to give to a defensive lineman. Like that's top dollar damn near with your around defensive tackles. Like, or it's not top dollar. It is upper echelon. It is right below that top dollar threshold. So just to me, signing Onyemata, I think allowed us another 3 or 4 years before we have to really start focusing on another defensive tackle. And to be honest, that's all you really can hope for out of any of these draft picks. You hope a guy can end his whole career playing with you for 10 years or 8 years, but the life expectancy of a lot of these guys is 3-4 years sometimes. Um, so yeah, to me, I feel like that would have been more of a luxury pick, just in my opinion. Because again, he wasn't an edge guy. Show me an edge guy. Now, if we could have gotten, what was it, Will Anderson? You know, that would have been a whole different story to me. So, yeah, my
All
thought.
right.
My thought.
Oh, you good. Like I said, they got you in the hot seat, man. So
Right.
I got two more that's gonna come at the same time. You can address these how you like. You kind of touched on them already, so but I'm gonna give them to you. This is coming from David. This is problem is we didn't need Bijan at 8. We had more pressing needs, for example, the defensive line. And the next one is from Winston. He said CJ Stroud should have been the pick. We should have traded whatever to move up and get Stroud to Atlanta over Bijan and also Carter. So would you care to touch on both of those, one of those?
Yeah. Well, as I said earlier, man, I just don't think there's any way that they were going to let Stroud, not come to them. I had Stroud as my number one guy, um, coming out of college in terms of quarterbacks. I was hoping that he would have fell to us potentially. So that's just my thought with that. The other one was about Jaylen. You said we didn't need Bijan. We had other pressing needs like the D line, and I agree. I think that pass rusher trumps running back. You know, generational talent running back, generational pass rusher is the maybe the you need, it's a quarterback league. You need a guy who can play quarterback, and you need a guy who can get after the quarterback. Those are the two most important teams positions on your team, in my opinion. And that wasn't available. So I don't think that we were going to be able to trade up to yeah. I, no way I would have done it. No way I would have given up having C.J. Stroud if I'm the Texans. Let me rephrase it that way.
So you saying they weren't gonna move out that pick when I was giving 4 first rounders in Magic City and pinups on?
Man, would you have wanted to see us for the next 4 years without a first round pick, Tidy? Come on, man. Like I just wouldn't. We've seen Dimitrov do this already, and Dimitrov wasn't all the way bad. He had some good picks and he had some hits, but he had a lot of misses. It had some really questionable things, and I think his hands were tied at times. I think there were certain things he didn't want to go with that he had to go with. Just being honest, like from Arthur Blank's standpoint, being married to Matt Ryan, making Julio a Falcon for life, which I think and hope that Arthur Blank has learned his lesson on. Um, you know, you gotta get rid of these guys when it's, when you can no longer go there. Let them go and be great somewhere else. So when you're not in that running, we should have rebuilt a lot sooner. But I did not want to see. I think. What do you think, Tiny? You would have just been like give up everything for these guys, and then you don't have a rest of your team around you. Like how would we have ever gotten that pass rush again? I feel like we'll be in the same position as having Matt Ryan in no defense. In my opinion.
You asking me would I have traded up for CJ Stroud?
Well, if it was possible, right? Would you have wanted to see us, and they were going to trade? Like if we would have had to give up first round picks for the next 3 or 4 years, you would have been 100% okay with that?
Honestly, I think it would have probably only cost the Falcons probably 2 first rounders, maybe a third, and some more middle round picks because we were only going from 8 to 2, so they would have still been in the top 10. I don't think it would have cost 3 or 4 first round picks. Now, if we could have traded 2 first rounders, 2 third rounders, and a fourth and a fifth, I would have did it. you know, I
Right.
would
I
have did it.
mean, if you can jug like that, but like, if they pass on C.J. Stroud, what are the Texans doing for the next 3 or 4 years? Then potentially, if you think you got a guy there, I mean, they let go of. Look at all the turmoil they went through with Deshaun Watson. They did not want him to leave. You know, just just my thoughts, man. Like I ain't see it. I mean,
All right, so I'm gonna read another one to you, and then before you rebut on it, I'm gonna add something to it. You know, and I want you to give us your thoughts on it. But this coming from Travis, he says Bijan isn't being used correctly. We were better off at running back than our D line. Grady, Campbell, Amyamata are not getting younger. Tyler is outplaying Bijan the last couple of weeks. Now I want to bridge that over to this too, Simo. You know, we know we had the headache gate that I like to call it with Bijan Robinson when
right.
he didn't play the Tampa game. Um, and I want to give everybody some data, including you, and you tell me what you think about this. These are Bijan Robinson stats the first 6 games. He was averaging 13.3 carries a game. He was averaging 67 yards rushing a game. He was getting 5.3 targets, receiving targets a game, and 4 catches a game, and 31 receiving yards a game. So he was really averaging almost 100 yards a game. Now, total yards, of course. Now, since headache gate, he only has 7.7 carries a game. He's only getting 39 rush. He's only averaging 39 rushing yards per game, 3 targets a game, 1 catch a game, and 2.7 receiving yards a game. Simo, is it just me, or am I tripping, or am I making something into nothing? But it seems to me since that whole headache thing, he has become real disengaged. You know, he doesn't seem like the same jovial B John that we see in the beginning of the season. And I'm not saying that he's got trash, because he still can go out there and do his thing, but he just doesn't seem like the same player physically or mentally that we seen the first 6 games of the year. So I want your thoughts on that. You know, is there something going on that's not being spoken about? Has he hit that quote unquote rookie wall? I mean, or do you not? Do you only? Maybe you don't even agree. Maybe you say, "Well, I don't see no difference." So, what's your opinions on that?
I will say now those stats. Does that include the headache gate game?
I'm not sure. I
Because
don't
I
know if
feel
they
like
have. I don't know if they
definitely,
have headache gate in there. This is coming from a stat account on Twitter. But
yeah.
I
Because
tell I'll give you this though, Simo. I'll give you his stats without headache gate. How about that?
right. Well, just even what the guy was saying the last 2 weeks, I know that this past week Bijan outrushed Tyler, and last week he outrushed Tyler. And his average is still higher. So it's like the outperforming him is, I have a little trouble with that. I do think there's something to Bijan. Before the headache gate, there were some reports that he was saying he's sore. He's
Yeah,
sore a lot.
seeing that.
Yeah, so I'm wondering. I don't know. Maybe he's having a hard time acclimating to the league a little bit. Maybe it's a little bit tougher than you think. You see it all the time where these rookies will go out here and they're like, "Oh, I played against these guys in college, and these linemen learn the hard way. Like these are grown men. These are bigger guys. They're different." We saw Anthony Richardson. He thought he could just go running into people and you know. Trevor Lawrence told him. Sometimes I told him like, "Yo, man, you got to slide in this league. Like, you can't just do that." We saw when Travis Etienne came in at first. He was like, "Yeah, if it's this easy, blah blah blah," and then the rest of his, was it Etienne or was that? Am I thinking about Leonard Fournette? It was a Jacksonville running back. It was it was some years ago, but they were talking about how, yeah, this easy coming in. I thought it was going to be much harder, and then they had a span of weeks where they just were not doing anything at all. So I think there may be some of that going on potentially. Just being real. I hope it's not an attitude thing. He seems like he's one of those character guys that's gonna tough it out as far as that. But I just think, yeah, I think his body has been wearing on his body maybe a little bit. Maybe that's why we're seeing less production. I mean, in terms of opportunities.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It probably has something to do with that rookie wall, because again, he just seems so disengaged on the field, and also when he's running now, I mean, it just seems like something is going on with that. So you may be right, that soreness and maybe his body just hasn't got acclimated to the punishment and the toll it takes on your body as an NFL player. And that's why they do call it the rookie wall. But we'll get you out of the hot seat a little bit about Bijan because you got a lot of comments down here, man.
I know people don't like that about Bijan, man. I think that I think that it's not something you're gonna completely see this year, but I think people are gonna be happy with Bijan. I think we are gonna, if we make the playoffs, it's gonna be because Bijan's gonna have to be there for us. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with how we use him moving forward. If his body is feeling that, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and I'll just finish with this, Simo, and then we'll move to the next subject.
Okay.
That's why so many of us were against the running back because of what we're talking about now is that shelf life, man.
So
But
who do we get though? That was my thing. It's like, why defensive tackle? Like, there's no edge guy. Like, and there was no quarterback. So what are we? I don't think getting any more defensive backs would have been good for us. Like,
for me personally, it's just when you have a talent like Jaylen Carter,
okay.
you just jump on it because I feel like you can actually build a Super Bowl team around him. All those guys we got on the D line now are in their 30s. They're on their way out. All those
No,
guys
right.
are gonna be like Calais Campbell. Most
Agreed.
of those guys will be out of the league within the next 4 years. And
Agreed.
by that time, you'll have a guy like Jaylen Carter who's just entering his prime. You know, and trust me, you make a great point. This is a point that Winston has argued too, that we signed Yamada, prior to that, so that made it even harder to take a guy like Jaylen Carter. But I still would have did it, man, because I just felt like he fell in our lap.
So do you see Jaylen Carter as Chris Jones?
I see him being better than Chris Jones, to be honest.
We'll see, man. I have not seen any evidence that Jaylen Carter is going to be an elite pass rusher.
Well, okay. When you say pass rusher, we got to also understand, like you say, the position he's playing. He's playing interior defensive tackle. Now, I will say he does have 4 sacks and limited. He's not he's not even a full-time starter.
Right.
So if he was getting like starter reps, you could probably guess his sacks would probably be 6 right now.
Does he have 4 now, or does he still have 3.5?
He has 4 now. I think he had a half a sack yesterday. Who did they play? Dallas, I think.
Yeah. I don't think it works that way. I don't think just because you get more reps, you automatically get more sacks. Like, you just on the field longer. You get tired and all that shit as well too. And he's a rookie. Like, he got to figure out how to play D line as well too. That's a lot of pressure to be the guy. So I think that a lot of people don't take that into account. Yeah, I think that's a little bit more of a luxury, man. Like, I need a DN guy. It's easier to replace an elite defensive tackle than it is an elite pass rusher.
Right. But when you agree on this point, when you got an interior defensive lineman who causes so much havoc, don't you think that helps you produce sacks? Because now those linemen I'm seeing Jaylen Carter getting double teamed and sometimes triple teamed as a rookie.
Right.
I mean, there's film out there that people have broken that down. Like, man, this guy's a rookie. He's getting double teamed, sometimes triple teamed. So by him bringing so much action to him, that'll help out a guy like Bud Dupree or AK get to the quarterback easier. You don't agree?
I mean, yes, it does help. I mean, that's why you want your interior guys to be like that, because it collapses that pocket. It makes it hard for them to move. But I mean, we're talking about Jaylen Carter, not necessarily Aaron Donald. Like, that's a guy that you do that with. We've seen Aaron Donald get 10 sacks or get 8-9 sacks or whatever, or not even getting to the quarterback, and he's still affecting the play because he's taking those double and triple teams that whole time. I think Jaylen Carter is going to be really good, but I think it remains to be seen that he's going to be better than even Aaron Donald or Chris Jones from that standpoint. And again, with those guys, an Aaron Donald, for example, he's a better pass rusher than he is a run stuffer. He's not bad against the run, but he definitely excels at rushing the passer versus the run. We talk about a Warren Sapp or a John Randall, like John Randall being an undersized guy, a elite pass rusher who was always getting you know what I mean, getting 10 sacks and better. But again, I feel like in this league we need guys that can like we need a mobile edge guy that can go and get the ball. Just get me a turnover, get me a strip sack. Like we need that more. I think we're getting a taste of that with Bud Dupree and some of those guys. So I think it's a little bit harder to replace that. Like I'd rather have a guy who gives us with Bud Dupree or a Lorenzo Carter as a defensive tackle. You know, take that production, put it into your defensive tackle, that caliber at defensive tackle. I'd rather do that and have a guy on the edge, just an elite Micah Parsons or one of those type of guys. To me, the team looks better when you have that because you can have a lot more rotational D line guys, and then it allows you to play that platoon ball a little bit better. When you have it, you know, like I want to play defensive tackle by committee if I can. That's just how I feel about it. Like that Giants team that went to the Super Bowl to beat the Patriots.
Yeah.
I mean, so don't get me. I believe the trenches is where you gotta go at, but you can only throw so much money at those linemen, and we thrown a lot at our offensive line.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, look,
McGarry and Lester.
After we fucking paid, I don't know if I can curse on it.
Yeah, go ahead.
After we paid
Jake.
Jake. It's like we got 3 guys studs. Then we just paid Grady, and then paid Anyamata. It was like I feel like that was gonna be better than having to pay that money later. I feel like we could get us a D. I feel like we could get some D tackles later on, some really good guys that may not be Jaylen Carter, but I think we get us another Grady Jarrett or something. I'll be happy with that. I think we could draft us another David Anyamata and do fine. I think we could draft us now Calais Campbell or even a younger Calais Campbell. I think we got time to do all of that. So.
All right, I'm gonna ask you one more Jaylen Carter, Bijan Robinson related question, then I promise we're gonna move on.
Oh, we good.
Let's say by chance, and of course we know this had a lot to do with Jaylen Carter falling down the draft charts, but let's say, hypothetically speaking, let's say the situations in Athens doesn't happen, you know, with the car accident, and he's still sitting there in the lap. Do you think at that point in time, Arthur Blank says it's okay to draft this guy? Do you think they would have drafted him if that situation doesn't happen and he's still right there in the green room and had been drafted when we draft?
I think it's a much higher probability. I'm not gonna lie. On draft night, I was very much leaning toward Jaylen Carter. I was willing to take the chance to see if he could be a good pass rush guy, but I was not mad about the Bijan thing. So I do think it's a much stronger possibility if that's not an issue of character type of stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so we're gonna go to another subject real quick. Alberto, what's up? Alberto says we need a coach that loves Atlanta. Look at how DeMarco Ryan is turning the Houston franchise around in one season. He has a heart for the team. We need a coach that loves the Falcons. And before you speak on that, Simo, speaking of coaches, let's talk about Arthur Smith, because it seems like after the game, every Falcon fan wants Arthur Smith fired immediately. What are your thoughts on your head coach? You know, you fire him now, you fire him if you lose against Arizona, or you just wait it out, or I'm trying to bring up both perspectives, or do you look at it from Arthur Blank and say, hey, this is really the first season that he's had money. You know, he's been able to draft his own guys. I'm willing to give him another season. Like, what's your thought on your head coach?
Yeah, I think that's the logical way that you move. It's interesting that they say that about she says that about Houston. We have like almost the same record as Houston. And I remember being about 4-4 at different, or being 500 with Arthur Smith coming in. He did that same thing. Now, in terms of speaking to whether he loves the city, I mean, I don't know if we talk about the charisma that a D'Amico Ryans has. I mean, a brother. So, I mean, you know, we got a certain type of swag that's inevitable. You know what I mean? But and I think that, you know, if we would have had a black head coach come in here, that would be crazy. I love having a black GM here, just to while we're on that, while we are talking about that. But yeah, I think you got to give him another chance, because when you look at what he's done and push for the playoffs was arguably what a lot of experts called for the last 2 years the worst roster in the league. And you've seen improvements. I feel like when he first came in, I feel like we had a team that wasn't going to choke. You could see the energy and the effort. You could see guys not hanging their head when we got down. You could see a team that was going to continue to fight, that finished games, that was like making less mistakes. I think you have to keep. You don't get good by constantly changing out your coaches. You look at a Robert Saleh. Look at what he's been doing in New York. He already didn't have Zach Wilson. I mean, he already had Zach Wilson and didn't have a good quarterback, which is why they went for Aaron Rodgers, and he was having that team really competitive. Now they lose Aaron Rodgers, and now this team is out here fighting. So I think you have to look at coaches like that. I've heard people say John Harbaugh can't coach. It's like, I mean, he's rebuilt a team twice and kept the team competitive through ages where they didn't have a quarterback anymore. They paid Joe Flacco, and we saw that one. I knew that was a bad idea. Now they've changed the whole identity of that team, and then got the defense revamped in a different type of way now. So I think you gotta keep giving him chances, because he doesn't make the most flashiest plays. He doesn't make the plays that are like, he doesn't make the play calls that are like, oh, this looks sexy. You know, a lot of times it's like, well, why would you give it to that guy? Admittedly, I look at times and I'm like, why is Bijan, Kyle Pitts, and Drake London not on the field inside the red zone? You know, these type of things. But I mean, they say when you start listening to the fans, you're gonna be in the stands with them. Come on, man. Like, so I think that there's I think you got to give him another year, man. Like, you're right. This is the first year that he actually had anything. He could make any moves. And now we look like we're a quarterback away, a quarterback and an edge rusher away. We won't have the same holes that we have. We're not built to play with a lead. Let's get an edge rusher. We will be built to play with a lead, and we could turn around and play ground and back pound football with you. You know, like, get us a Justin Herbert.
Yeah, they gonna get you by going to bat for Arthur Smith.
Hey man, look, I know a good coach when I know good coaching is situational ball when I see it though. Like, your job as the head coach is to not just lose the game for us. It's very few times that we look at it like, oh, he lost the game for us. People point at coaching so easily. These players got to execute the game plan. Like, hell, I like that he's gutsy. He puts his nuts on the table and goes for it on certain fourth downs, and we get them. We walk with a swagger because of that. That team believes we're gonna get those fourth downs. When you see the way that those guys play, it's a reason Cordell Patterson is out here like caping for this team and trying to recruit people. Like, I think that Arthur Smith has created that brotherhood that Dan Quinn was talking about. Like, I never believed it. I like Dan Quinn. I like that we had a defensive guy. I wanted to get all the way into it, but I just didn't all the way believe it. Like, I can look in this man's eye. I just kind of believe it a little bit more. I think he doesn't. I think he's going to have some growing. He still got his growing pains as a head coach, but it ain't like when we had the other Smith, when we had Mike Smith out there, and you could just see the deer in the headlights. Shit, you see us making certain calls, and Dan Quinn just is choking out here and shit. I don't think we got that same type of team with these guys. I think we got to focus. Like, I think we make less penalties than we've had before. Just in my humble opinion. So,
hey, I can definitely dig it. I can dig it, man. You know, these people in comments gonna get you. But let's switch gears to another topic here. Let me catch up on some comments real quick. We got Marcus Washington from On the Mark checking in. What's happening with you, Marcus? And y'all make sure to go now and subscribe to Marcus on the Mark. Click on his profile. You know, run up the likes, run up the subs, run up the comments in the comment section. You know, that's one of our Atlanta Bird Gang administrators who was, you know, at the group on one point in time, and he provided, you know, hours of great content for us. So show him the same kind of love that you show me, and go run up them subs also. Shout out to you, Mark. What's going on? Now let's switch gears to quarterback, because you mentioned quarterback. Can we go into next season, Simo, with Taylor Heinicke and Desmond Ridder as our quarterbacks, with the same quarterback room? And I know this question is a little premature because we still got half a season to play, but based on what you've seen thus far from Ridder last year and both quarterbacks this year, Can we go into next season with our quarterback room eh, just like it is right now?
I'm gonna phrase it as I hope we don't go into next season with those guys as our leading candidates for the job. I mean, we don't know how the offseason is gonna pan out. You know what I mean? So it's what do we do with that? I would love to see us make a move for a quarterback. I don't know what those moves are gonna entail and what they look like though. So it's a little early to see what certain people are gonna do. If it comes down to like those guys or Kirk Cousins, give me Cousins, um, or somebody like that as a bridge guy. I'd rather do that than going with these guys because I just don't think that they're going to give us the best probability of winning, 100%. So just, but we'll see, man. Like Tyler Heinicke might. He might pull some Ryan Fitzpatrick type of stuff.
Magic.
Right. We might be able to get us a guy that we can, like a Will Levis or something, somebody who we can sit on the bench a little bit and let them learn some. I think that's potentially where we're going to be at if we make the playoffs or if we push for another playoff run. Which if you're Arthur Smith, you have to do. Like I mean, like you said, if he don't win at least a certain amount of games, you want him gone. You want him gone if he don't make the playoffs, right?
Yeah, he gotta go. He got to go, bro.
I think I think it's a little bit. I think that's a little bit extreme. I think he's got to win another game or two. I want to see some improvements on it, but I think it's kind of hard to win with.
Wait a minute. You saying if he only wins 2 more games, he's secure going into next season?
If he wins 9 games this year.
Oh, I thought you said 2 more games. I thought you said 7 is the case.
Oh no.
Oh, well, that would make 6 actually.
You're right. No. I'm sorry. No. Sorry. No, I don't mean like if he wins 2 more games total. I mean if he adds to the total of what we had uh, from last year. I'm really hard pressed to not see us, you know, going up in our win total. So yeah, it's. I think Heinicke should. I'd be surprised if he just completely jeopardized us. I think he's going to allow us to make bigger plays, potentially out of stretch.
Yeah, and I agree with that also. I'm just at a point where I really feel like as a franchise, it's about time for us to go get our quarterback.
Agreed.
Um, I really think when you break down a team like the Falcons broke down their team over these last 3 years, when you tell a 14-year general manager, okay, hit the road, it was real, but it's time for you to go. When you tell a head coach who had you in a Super Bowl that you should have won, I it's been real, but you got to get out of here too. When you tell like your greatest, your most established, most tenured quarterback, yeah, we pushing you out the door, bro. You got to go. So when you break down a team like that and you start to build it back up, I think part of that rebuild at some point in time, that new regime has to put their hands on a quarterback and say, "This is my guy." So I really feel like we're at that point in time. Like, hey, it's time to go draft a quarterback. I hope Taylor or whoever ends up being our quarterback, they're probably going on a game by game basis at this point. But I'm gonna be honest, I just don't see neither one of those guys in the quarterback room getting us to that next level.
I don't
And
either.
I know when you take a rookie quarterback, there's gonna be a learning curve that a lot of us fans may not want to endure. It could be anywhere from 2 to 4 years. But I just really feel like that's part of the rebuilding process. You got to go get a new quarterback. What's your thoughts?
I totally agree. I mean, I want to see us get another quarterback. So I don't know that I don't know 100% how that works out. I don't know what our options are in terms of making that happen. I think as the season goes on, I mean, who knows what's going to happen in Chicago with the Justin Fields specifically, or some of these other options. We just saw Trey Lance get traded away. I'm not saying that's who I would want to. A guy like that is who I'd want to go after either, because I feel like he's another project player. But that was a guy who we had an option, a chance of getting, and I feel like if Shanahan can't do nothing with you, if Shanahan says I don't want to do anything with you, he tried to make Jimmy Garoppolo a thing, and we see how that's panning out. So I also don't. I mean, I think we got to go get our guy. You know what I mean? I definitely don't want to see us mess around and get a Derek Carr or something like that as another bridge guy as well too. So I just think it's really hard to get those guys though.
It is. It is.
Yeah, I do think that this year I feel a lot more confident trading a lot more to get that guy, but I think I feel comfortable with a bridge guy if we can mess around and get us say a Micah Parsons or something like that. Because if you look at what Dallas has done, I think they paid Dak, which they had to do. Dak has not 100% lived up to that contract, and it's like, well, damn, Dak's kind of the problem in Dallas to an extent. Why they haven't gone far further. Dak and the head coach. I think the head coach more than anything. You want Dak to live up to that potential now, but they're in that win now mode. You can't. If you look at a team like that, they can't. Like they got all these good players on rookie deals still, so they're gonna have to do that while they're not still having to pay the piper or whatnot. So I think that if we can mess around and get us a guy like that, and we can just get good enough play that we can turn around and just hand the ball off a lot more and have a quarterback make some plays here and there, I think that we're in a good position. So again, it kind of just depends on where our options are. But hell, I mean, before this past weekend, you would have said that you would have wanted whatchamacallit out of USC, right?
Who, Caleb?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would take him, but I know we ain't got no chance in hell.
But do you want him now after seeing that press conference?
I didn't see it. What happened?
He says crying and weeping on the camera in a different type of way.
Is that the one when somebody was like holding a paper over his face?
I didn't see it myself. I just saw. It's been a hectic weekend for me. For me with all this stuff, but I saw a couple of people speaking about it. I actually meant to go look at it, but they were saying like how he should have probably did what he did behind closed doors. So, and I've seen a lot of Falcons fans be like, "Yeah, I don't want him."
Because I see that. I got to go back and look at it.
I want to look at it as well too and see if this is, we can, as fans, we could be a little hyperbolic sometimes and jump the gun. But
all right. Well, speaking of quarterbacks, speaking of us possibly drafting a quarterback, because who knows what you. I'm sure we all can agree. The Falcons, you never know what these jokers going to do, so we don't know what the quarterback going to look like next year. But let's say, Simo, give us some quarterbacks that are coming into the league next year that you would be okay with as in regards to rookies. Who would you say, oh yeah, okay, well, yeah, I can see this guy.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I've not been watching as much college this year. So I don't want to throw out names and guys not be exactly, where we were. I mean, I was hoping that Caleb could be there. I have been checking out CU a little bit with some of their games. I was very open to the prospect of Shedeur coming here at some point. Now, I don't think he's coming out this year. I just don't see it happening this particular year. But those are two guys that I had been looking at earlier and would have been happy. I like you said, I don't think we'll be able to get Caleb. And I have no idea where we're going to be at with this with our draft, man, because it could be. I mean, I can see us not winning any more games potentially. Like if things go with the right story, I don't think that's going to completely happen. But I can see us easily being 7-10 again, potentially. But I also can see us winning and going, 9-8, or having that be 10-7. So it's kind of a mixed bag with that. And I want to see what some of these guys do as it comes closer to bowl games or whatnot, because as you start off the season with guys front running, and sometimes you see guys have those. That's what sold me with with Stroud. It was the game. Yeah, it was the game that he had when he got later in the year with UGA. So
yeah.
I was like, if he can do that against those guys, so I don't need to see a whole year of film necessarily all the time. Like if you do it against the elite competition, that gives me enough hope at that point in time. So I kind of want to see how some more of these games pan out before I do that. So that's where I was really going to try to make sure in this back end that I really put a little more effort towards scouting some of those guys as I've gotten settled in and stuff. So.
All right. Well, you did just mention Shedeur Sanders. So I got to go there.
Okay.
His father is one of Atlanta's favorite sons in regards to the sports world, Deion Sanders. And I'm sure you probably seen it, or I assume you saw it when Dion told the Falcon scout, "Hey, come get my boys. You know, I want y'all to draft." You know, I'm paraphrasing, but he kind of said, "Yeah, I
Right,
want y'all
right,
to
right.
draft my boys."
Definitely, definitely. I see that.
Um, don't personally, I think that would be like a magnificent story to draft dad and then draft son, and coincidentally, that wouldn't be the first story that we've had like that because we had Jesse and now we got Grady. Do
Right.
you
And
think that intrigues Arthur Blank, Terry Fontenot to say, you know what, maybe we should push our pen that way and go get Shador? I mean, because and it's kind of conflicting because at first Dion said, well, he ain't gonna go out this year, but now he's telling the Falcon scout, go get my boy. So
right.
if there's a chance that the Falcons can grab him, do you grab him? And don't just grab him because of the Dion thing, but do you think the talent warrants us to get Shador?
I do. I mean, I think I don't think he's shown me that he doesn't have it there. We haven't seen him against all the biggest of competition, but we have seen him play. You know, we've seen him play the P5 schools now, and he wasn't terrible by any stretch completely. So I think if you could go get an Anthony Richardson, why not? You know, it would be nice to see like if it was another year on it. But if he comes out this year, I mean, I guess it depends on where we're getting him at. You know what I mean? And again, I want to see how he finishes out the rest of the season. Um, it's one of those things where if you draft a quarterback in the first round and he doesn't pan out for you, you kind of set your team back a few, especially if you get him high.
Yeah.
Depending
Or if
on
you
how high
trade up for him and they don't work.
especially if you trade up for him. So I don't know if I've seen enough to say you trade up to go get. I mean, where do you if Shador comes out, where do you see him ranking in your top QBs this year?
If he come out right, well, if he comes out, I got Shador probably. I think you got to put him in the top 5.
Right.
You know, Caleb, Drake, and then after that, you start talking about the Shador Sandersons of the draft. You know, you got Bo Nix out there also. So I think he's definitely top 5. You know, I like the guy out of LSU too. I like Jaden Daniels. I like what I've seen from him, but I think Shador is definitely top 5. I
I'll
think
cut. I'll
I
cut
think he
Daniel.
would be a top 10 NFL pick if he does come out.
Mm. I mean, and that's how you draft, right? We draft on potential, right?
Right.
I mean, look at how high did they get Malik? Oh God, what's his last name?
He got drafted after our guy after Ridder, so he had to be he was the third quarterback taken, if I'm not mistaken. It was
But he was
who
in the third.
Kenny, Ridder, and then Malik Willis.
Okay, so Willis went in the like third or fourth round then,
I think third. People in the chat, didn't he go third? Wasn't he
because
the
we got rid
third
of the
pick?
third.
I think so. I think he went not too far after Desmond Ridder went.
Mm. Want to give a shout out to Miss T Prissy. I seen her pop up on the chat.
Yeah,
As
me
well.
too. Shout out Toya. And Mark says he would put asses in the seats for sure. That definitely would fill up the stadium. You see what they do in Colorado. You saw what they did in Jackson State. So
yeah, I mean, I think he definitely gives us a chance. You know, he can make some throws. He definitely has the legs. So that's what you want to look for in your QBs in this league. You want guys that can stress the defense on every level.
true. Steven, what's up, Steve? Says Shador Sanders would sell tickets in the A. Arthur Blank wants that. I like to see Malik Cunningham in our quarterback room. So that's somebody else that's saying, you know, hey, he'll put people in the stands. You know, he definitely gonna fill the seats. That's one thing that we kind of struggled with since opening that dome. Well, that stadium, I guess I should say,
Right.
is filling it up consistently. So that's one attraction to it. And I don't think it would, if we were to go that route. Of course, we're just being hypothetical right now. I don't think it would be solely the attraction of the fans. I really feel like he's a talented, competent college quarterback. But you know, if that's going to translate over to the NFL, who knows? You know, look at Zach Wilson, look at Trey Lance. You know, they were 2 and 3 in the draft. So, it's always a gamble. I know
Right.
I'll come and say we need to draft a quarterback, but I definitely know it's not easy finding that guy. It's not easy at
Yeah.
all.
I mean, and then you got to put some time into some of these guys. Look at what Green Bay is dealing with Jordan Love. Imagine being in that position. Would you give Jordan Love, not to get off I know this is a Falcons show, but like, would you give Jordan Love enough? You have to, right? If you let him sit for 4 years, almost 4 years or whatever, you know, you invested high draft capital. Imagine being there and we're looking at Jordan Love, like damn near like Ritter, like missing off just way off key downfield. You know what I mean? Missing certain throws and everything. Like, imagine being in that situation. It's Imagine having what's my guy's name in Pittsburgh?
Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett. You know, um, these were options that we could have drafted before Pitts, right? Could have got Pickett before Pitts, right?
Well,
In
no,
that
no,
draft,
no. That was Ritter's. What's that?
I feel like that was in Pitts' draft. I might be
Let me.
wrong. You might be right. That
No,
might
no.
be it.
I think he was the 20. He was the 2022 draft. Pitts was 2021.
Okay. Yeah, those two drafts kind of blur a little bit for me.
All right. Well. Let me open this can of worms here because I really don't know where you stand on the issue. But since we're talking about quarterbacks, we're talking about Atlanta. Um, we got a new head coach. We have already had four starting quarterbacks in just 3 years.
Right.
So some would say the Falcons are officially in quarterback hell. It just depends on your perspective. But speaking of Atlanta, speaking of quarterbacks, does this give you a newfound respect for Mr. Matthew Ryan and what he did in Atlanta?
Oh, I mean, I was always like Team Matt Ryan. I feel like he's the best quarterback we've ever had in the city. He's not the most talented, like that was Michael Vick, but or the most, the best skill set. But yeah, I mean, Matt Ryan, I appreciate it. I feel like a lot of fans did not appreciate him though, and I feel like this is definitely given a lot more respect for Matt Ryan from some of those fans. I heard something on the radio last night where one of those guys, he's like, man, I'd pay his salary for him to come out of retirement and just come give us what he gave us before. So yeah, definitely. I think it gives a new found appreciation for Matt Ryan. I feel like there was a lot of scorned Michael Vick fans who never completely came around to Matt Ryan. They felt like Arthur Blank was, I mean, illogically, but felt like Arthur Blank didn't do right by Vic for some reason, and they never just came around to Matt Ryan because it was like we were replacing, a black quarterback, who's kind of, you know, redefining the position with the white guy, who's not as electrifying, not as fun, doesn't give us the same thing. He's not mobile or any of that. He took a lot of sacks and stuff, but yeah, 100% feel like there's a a new level of respect for what Matt Ryan was doing.
So you were saying that the Atlanta Falcons fan base held a lot of resentment towards Matt Ryan because he was not, like you say, the black quarterback, the exciting quarterback, and embraced the city, embraced the culture, and he was
Yeah.
replaced by the total polar opposite of Matt Ryan. So you're saying a lot of fans resented him for that, and they probably would have never fully embraced him unless we won the Super Bowl. It was almost Super Bowl or bust with Matt Ryan, I guess.
It was. I mean, and I think even then it still would have been like, eventually when it's time to go, they would have been. I think they would have. It would have appreciated him more. And I think losing that Super Bowl made a lot of people be like, "See, I told you. I told you he didn't have it." That's my opinion about it a little bit. I think there's some black fans that were like that about Matt Ryan. Yeah, because and I understandably so. I don't think it's necessarily a totally bad thing. A lot of us, we weren't allowed to play quarterback in the league. It was always like he needs to run, he needs to pass more, he needs to do this more. Now that you have white quarterbacks that are a little bit more mobile, they talk it up like it's a great thing, a whole lot more. But then they ridicule people like Lamar Jackson. Um, uh, they don't give them the same litmus tests. They like Lamar gets a lot more scrutiny than I think a quarterback like Josh Allen does specifically. So for that reason, rightfully so. Michael Vick was hip hop. he was Atlanta for the most part, even though he went from Atlanta. You know what I mean? You see that, you like, man, like he was more hip hop than Dion was. You know what I mean? Because he wasn't the most polished. And I mean, there's a lot of black affluency in Atlanta, but it's even with that black affluency, it's like we like to let it hang out a little bit. You know what I mean? We don't mind embracing some of that ratchetness. And Michael Vick was he leaned a little bit more on that other side. And that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, because a lot of us are nonconformists. You've been telling us he was ugly for so long. They say his play style was ugly. So yeah, I was a Michael Vick supporter. Like he made me fully embrace being a Falcons fan like no other before that, because we was owned by the Rankin Smith, by the
Yeah,
Smiths or
Rankin
whatever.
Smith family.
Yeah, and like I feel like what Arthur Blank has done coming in comparison to that, and it all started with Michael Vick. I feel like we have an owner who wants to win though. He's not just only trying to put butts in the seat or whatever. And that all started with Michael Vick, where it was like, yeah, I'm fully all the way in on this team. Well, it's like he gave you a reason to want to tune on, and embrace it. You know what I mean? So he's always gonna have a special place, in people's hearts in this city. When you listen to him, he says like, "Yo, I was the last one in and the first one gone." So I think when you put it in perspective like that, yeah, but not, yeah, there's definitely I think people are
Resentment.
starting to. Yeah, there was some resentment, but I think that people are starting to come around a little bit more now. It's like you don't know what you had till it's gone type of deal.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? I think we get a lot of that now, because I mean people would pay to be like 10-7. You know what I mean? People would they give everything to just be 11 and whatever and be making the playoffs, and we're at least we're talking about, hey, are they gonna win a playoff game? Are they gonna go deeper? Are they gonna get past this round or whatever? Um, so I know I'm tired of not seeing that. You know. So,
All right. Well, let me ask you this, since we are here. You mentioned earlier, you said that you would have moved past Matt Ryan years before we officially did it. Now, based on what you just said about Matt Ryan, and how he may not have been appreciated enough, um, do you do you feel like the Falcons did Matt Ryan quote unquote wrong by publicly pursuing Deshaun Watson in the fashion that we did pursue him, or do you feel like, hey, that's just business?
man, it's definitely part of the business. I don't think that they did him wrong. I think they gave him a choice in where he wanted to be traded to. Um, they tried to trade him to a contender as well. So uh, I don't think I don't know how you do it without people finding out, because I don't. Did they do it publicly or did it just get leaked?
It got leaked and they never refuted the claim, so I guess we can't say it was publicly.
Yeah, so it's like you gonna lie about it, and it's like you don't want now Deshaun don't come here. Oh man, give me 1 second. The battery on the phone on this is
Go ahead.
potentially about to pop off. Forgot I didn't have my charger in. Yeah, no, I think they did what they needed to do. I think that's Matt Ryan was aging. I think he got that too. I mean, he had 1 year afterward, and he's out the league now. And teams need quarterbacks right now. I mean, with Jeff Sat, they benched him. They benched him in Indianapolis.
Twice.
Right? You see what I'm saying? They benched him after they fired the coach. Jeff Saturday comes in, and he puts him back in. And I can't. Did Jeff Saturday finish the rest of the season, or did some? Either way, he got. I think
I think he did.
I want to say Jeff Saturday like decided, oh no, nah, I see why you benched him and set him back down. So yeah, nah, I don't think he should have got that last deal that he got, because there comes a point in time that that the writing was on the wall at a certain point. We were going to have to eventually pay the piper
Yeah.
from all those Julio picks, which it was worth it, and from paying both Julio and Matt Ryan. We played some other guys at some other points of time, and it was time to get rid of those guys. Like Deion Jones, for example, was he was that guy until he wasn't anymore. And there are some guys that we also gave up on, like Devondre Campbell, who's still a pretty solid linebacker. I wish we still had him
Yeah.
on our team. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you eventually got to do that, man. Like it was, you see, we had to keep Grady. So, um, yeah, I don't think it was dirty. I think Matt gets it, man.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you know when your skills are diminished and you can't compete like you once did. And I think going through that Indianapolis season, he just had a heart to heart with himself. Say, hey, it's my time. I'm not going to officially retire because y'all going to pay me what's left on this contract. But after
Right,
this season, I will formally retire.
right,
And they'll have a ceremony for me and probably Julio at the same time
right.
down in Atlanta. Um, One other thing for you, Simo, because we opened a can of worms, and Steven had kind of a rebuttal to something that you mentioned about Michael Vick. I'm sorry, Matt Ryan being the best. He says Matt Ryan is not the best. We have to define best. Matt Ryan was a PR play that had to work after the Vick debacle. Do you agree or disagree with any part of that? Just Matt Ryan was solely a PR play.
No, I mean he was the rookie of the year. He made several Pro Bowls. He was the only quarter. He was the first quarterback and the only quarterback we've ever had that made back-to-back playoffs consecutively, and he did it for years. I mean, I'm kind of curious, Steven, like who's the best quarterback we had then? Like we're not going off of skills and talent. We're going off of what they actually did. Who had a better career as a quarterback in Atlanta than Matt Ryan? Then who historically did better? Like he's higher up there in records than any other Falcon quarterback as well too, just in terms of all time lists and stuff. So um, for league history. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, very well said, very well said. And I know Simo, that you got some engagements you need to get to, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up, man.
All right.
This was a great conversation, and I gotta apologize to everybody who came through for the player grades. I fully intended to do the player grades today, but we just started having such a great conversation that it was just tough to end it and do the player grades. But I promise we will get back to our player grades after the Arizona game on next Monday. I definitely want to thank Simo for coming through. Also, Simo, you want to go ahead and plug anything that you're doing, anything you're working on, also your social media.
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, thank you again for your condolences, bro, and I appreciate you having me on the show. I appreciate all the love I've gotten in the Bird Gang group from people and everything. And it's all love with everybody on that. Yeah, definitely want to give a plug on Instagram on Point Game Official. I'm doing a coaches show every year for Stevenson High School. I mean, every week for Stevenson High School, speaking with them, and I'm going to be doing that with a few other high school programs and hopefully some collaborative with you towards some, uh, pro sports. Also have the Rogue Maven on IG, and that's also on YouTube as well. And the Point Game is also on YouTube as well, but that's a lifestyle site that I'm doing, Rogue Maven. I have a series called Venus to Mars that kind of deals with our basic human interaction and what drives that with us on every setting from romantic relationship to platonic in the boardroom and business. So
That's what's up. Shout out to Simo, man. I'm gonna see if I maybe can pull him out of the cave that comes to the Waffle House this Friday, because I know y'all want to eat him up for his takes on
yeah, yeah,
Bijan and Jaylen Carter and Arthur Smith. So I try to pull him out the cave and get him on the Waffle House, and that way y'all can eat him alive.
absolutely, yo. So we have a playoff game on Saturday. So usually we're on Friday nights. So yeah, I could definitely step in and come into the Waffle House. I would be honored to be on, and hopefully, I can kind of talk some sense into some of these fans about Arthur Smith and Bijan and why he is the stud of all studs, baby.
That's what's up. Hey, well, we'll see you Friday, man. It's been so real. Of course, I'm tired. That's Simo. We appreciate y'all time. Hey, man, y'all have a blessed week. We out here.
Peace.
Peace.
Y'all
Appreciate
be
it.